Welcome to another episode of the House Husband Diaries. As always, I am your host, Carter C., and today is another Forrest Fenn day. Another fantastic day. Get it? Fantastic. All right, fellas, ladies, and gents. Today, episode 117, we are talking about the theme or keyword. I don't really think it's necessarily a keyword. It's not in the poem, so I think we'll just say the theme of understanding, and this kind of goes along with the idea of Forrest having something that he wants to teach us that we need to understand or learn. Is the idea of understanding what is being said or what is being taught, and um, I thought it was interesting as I was reading that he says I didn't understand that, or it just the word popped up, and I said, okay, well, let me go back and research that, and then we'll go from there. So, without further ado, page 10. He says that he didn't understand down about halfway. He says, I didn't understand how two guys who were big shots could get by with writing such little books. I mean, part of it, I think, is how he talks in Catcher in the Rye and Holden Caulfield, and he's copying some of that. But I think the other part of it is actually just the truth of not understanding how some people make it successfully, make it big. Other people don't. They work hard their whole lives and never amount to much, at least in the national sense or a monetary sense, no gain. And so there is this, I think, lack of understanding amongst many people that, how does someone make it big and become famous, and someone doesn't. And so I think Forrest is just saying that, okay, well, here are these guys, and it's a joke. I mean, these little books, it doesn't really matter, but I don't know. It's, comparing the size of your book versus somebody else's book, come on, mine's bigger. It could just be a joke as well. There's a serious component to that, but I think there's also a jocular component. So page 25, jump starting the learning curve. I love this story and just the whole thing. Misunderstanding. And he says, whoop, or is it page 24? Oh, this is terrible. Oh, here we go. Now his demeanor, what? Oh, down at the bottom. Now his demeanor was one of deep compassion and understanding. That was a silly hiding understanding because it was under dash and then standing underneath. I was like, I can't find the word. Okay, so he's talking about in jumpstarting the learning curve where he got in trouble with Miss Ford. She took him down to his dad's, to the principal's office, and he said, your son called me an old bat, and he said, oh, that's not exactly right. And then, I said, my father says you're an old bat. And he slowed and stopped, and now his demeanor was one of deep compassion and understanding. And then he goes, what have we learned from this, from all of this? And so I think that's really interesting. It goes back into the idea or the theme of learning, of teaching, and maybe there's some life history or story, and that's part of what we're here to do, is learn, and listen and understand. So now he has deep compassion and understanding. Deep compassion, water high. Connecting dots, connecting dots. Page 31, Bessie and Me. Sometimes teachers just don't understand. What's he talking about? So this is, right at the end and before, if you've watched previous theme videos, right before that, until you have loved a cow, part of your soul remains undiscovered. Miss Ford suggested that next time maybe I should change pants before class. Sometimes teachers just don't understand. I skipped a sentence and a half. Why wouldn't teachers understand that? It's an aberration, Or is that just a kid saying adults just don't understand? Page 45, In Love with Yellowstone. Oh yeah. Down at the bottom. So I think we don't really talk much about this page either, because it's only a half a page, 2/3 of a page story. Then my father sold our 36 Chevy and got a 41 Plymouth instead. I couldn't understand how he could do that to such a faithful car that had been a member of the family like the rest of us. Is home a brown and old rusty car? Is there just an old rusty car that's going to be there for the next, 100 years, but then it'll rust away? It's been there for, since his childhood. I don't think that's a new idea, but you can just get rid of a car. Can you get rid of other people? Kids, just give them away. Maybe not. Maybe. Page 56, The Long Ride Home. In Wyoming, between Shoshone and Casper, we had some kind of slight misunderstanding, and I told him to just stop the dumb car and let me out. So this is a misunderstanding. I don't know if it's a slight, just change in the fact of understanding. If you have a slight misunderstanding, obviously that's embellishing it, because if it was a slight misunderstanding, then they wouldn't have, had the big fight, right? It's just funny. Just funny usage of words. I don't think there's really anything there. There might be something in the story, but I don't think there's much in that mention of misunderstanding. Page 60, Looking for Lewis and Clark. So we only have a few more mentions. This is going to be a shorter video today. Up at the top, it says, we were thrilled and knew the whole place was there just for us. Surely the rippling brooks would be grateful for our company, and the grizzlies would understand that we were just exploring the area and meant no harm. Of course the grizzlies would understand. They have a phenomenal amount of common sense. They understand humans so well. Definitely. I don't think there's anything there. Maybe. But just kind of silly. All right, page 95. It's the last few words of page 95, which move over to page 96. My war for me. I didn't know enough about what had happened to even speak of, much less understand what I was feeling and what it could possibly mean, if anything. And that sounds like there's something there. He's talking about this experience in Laos and Vietnam, and then how does that transition to, or how does that correlate to finding the treasure chest or a special spot or something to that effect. And I really need to spend more time on it. Honestly, I'm putting out videos and doing research and stuff. And so that's why I said I'm just going to keep plowing through, and there's things that pop up, and instead of getting off on a rabbit trail or going down a rabbit hole or something, I'm just continuing to try to stay out of it emotionally, and just keep looking at themes and keywords that pop up, and keep putting out these videos. And then when I'm done with it, in, another month and a half or so, then we'll go back and we'll start doing a secondary level of analysis and let's dig in. So I may not have all of this through, by the end of the search season, but maybe so. We'll see. See what we can find. See if we can find the treasure chest. 2020. It'd be a good year for it to be found though, right? 2020. It's just, I like the roundness, evenness of it. If it was found in 2021, 2022, it's still even, but 2020 just sounds like a good year for it to be found. All right, page 111. We've talked about this a bunch. They couldn't understand why it was so cold, why it was cold to the touch when it was in a warm room. Talking about the bronze and teachers with robes. We've talked about that a number of times. Does that have anything to do with, your effort will be worth the cold? Is it just because it's cold as far as the bronze chest itself? Or is your effort worth the cold because you have to wade through a little creek or something? Or is your effort worth the cold because it's where warm waters halt? So the warm has halted, so it's not warm anymore, it's cold. Lots of options. Page 125, the last mention, and we will wrap this video up today. Page 125, we've talked about this a lot, halfway down. Many others, this is the chapter Fly Water. Many others who have loved those waters before and after me understand that catching fish is not what it's about. So that's the difference between the fly fishermen of the world and the sport fishermen of the world. And I do more, it's not even sport fishing, it's more inshore fishing, eastern North Carolina. So in brackish water and rivers that, the sounds and stuff. And so we're catching fish to eat. And, we go out to catch fish and then fillet them and eat them. That's the preference. And then, it's fun to just be out there, even if we're not. So the byproduct, if we're not catching fish, if we don't bring home fish, is we do have fun. My buddy and I that go fishing a lot, and so that's enjoyable. But I think for the people that fly fish for the little trout, they don't. They're not eating them, and they're not even snacks. They just put them back, and it's just about being out there, calming, enjoying nature. And, maybe he is telling a story about fishing. I don't know. Maybe that is the story and it's not about life or it's not about learning or teaching or what have you. But, I tend to lean away from that. So, as always, let me know what you think. Let me know if this video was helpful for you, understanding the theme of understanding, of learning, of teaching. Is Forrest teaching? Is Forrest learning? Is he both? And then, we'll just keep on pumping out videos and going live with other folks. I'm enjoying having more people come on the channel. And if you'd like to be on the channel, let me know. Email me, carter@hhdiaries.com. And if you want to talk about Fenn stuff, if you want to talk about other stuff, I do other stuff on other days. I'm open. I'm happy to talk about any number of things. I enjoy it tremendously. So thanks so much for watching this episode of the House Husband Diaries. As always, click like, subscribe, whatever at the end. It does, I'd like to get to 1,000 by my 40th birthday, but I've had a great week this past week, and it was really encouraging, and that's really what I appreciate is just a lot of encouragement, and just having fun, good conversation. So I know I'm babbling, but it's what I get to do. Y'all have a great day as always, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.